Okay, so I gave the theatrical cut a 7 out of 10, and I just watched the director's cut very recently. Now, it being 3 hours, that part is meaningless. It's not too stressful, it's not too gargantuan of a task. The 3 hours blew by, honestly. In fact, the 3 hours made the film more inviting to me. It was really nice to, if the movie were a field, it was nice to sort of sit and lie down and stretch out and really luxuriate in the immensity of the world building here. However, and truthfully, when it comes to the True Knot, these bizarre vampires, yeah, the True Knot are very boring. With the exception of Rose the Hat, I found the True Knot to be really dull and uninteresting. Very meh. Also, the fact that people turn into steam when they die, or that they expel steam when they die, is just, that part's really cheesy to me, really corny for me. So in the third act, when Ewan McGregor, when he gets possessed and he's supposed to be looking all scary and evil, and like one eye is grayed out, remember? Towards the end of the film, he honestly looks silly and just dumb in both versions of the film. I saw the theatrical cut in theaters, and that was the first and last time that I saw it. And to say that a lot's happened between seeing that film in theaters to now, yeah. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is I don't know the difference. I don't know what the differences are between the theatrical or the director's cut. The only thing that stood out is that Jacob's death sequence seemed subtly more graphic. And there were chapter headings that I don't remember in the theatrical cut. But besides that, that's the only differences that I noticed between the theatrical cut and the director's cut. Only thing that I noticed. The cinematography and the sound design are not only the best things about this film, but the visuals and the sounds of this film are hypnotic, creepy, and really sucks you in like a trance. Genuinely creepy shit. What's interesting is that the creepiness really sank in on the second rewatch, for sure. I'll definitely say that the director's cut is a bit more interesting than the theatrical by like a hair. So yeah, the visuals and the sonic landscapes are overwhelmingly fantastic. But honestly, everything else is either just good or just meh. A lot of the recreations of imagery from Kubrick's films, or flashbacks that have the visual language of Kubrick's films, most of these moments did not connect well or land emotionally deep enough for me. Like in general, I mean. Dr. Sleep feels like a good companion piece to Kubrick's film. It does not feel like a horror movie masterpiece or a profound piece of cinema. Unfortunately, when it comes to the story or when it comes to the execution of the overall plot, I just don't think that this is a masterpiece or an extraordinary film. So when it comes to the visuals, the overall sounds of this thing, all of that is amazing. But for me, a large majority of the story just comes across as a decent horror movie like X-Men X-Men film from the early 2000s. Honestly, the most interesting thing about this film, outside of its imagery or the sound design, is the opening few minutes and about 2 hours and 16 minutes in, we finally arrived at the Overlook Hotel, which is genuinely a creepy fucking sequence. Those last 40 minutes, for the most part, are godly. So good. But sadly, I feel like if you took the last 40 minutes and made it its own short film, I feel like that alone would probably be like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. But unfortunately, I just wish that, I mean, the last 40 minutes are the best part, and I wish that the rest of the film was as entertaining as, you know, these last 40 minutes. Literally, everything else outside those last 40 minutes could have been deleted, honestly. So, whether we're talking about the director's cut or the theatrical cut, they have the same rating for me, and I gave the theatrical cut a 7 out of 10. I'm going to give the director's cut also a 7 out of 10. But if you were going to pick one or the other, I'd probably just go with the director's cut. But yeah, feeling a 7 out of 10 for a director's cut. But what about you, bitch?